This is tracking and trending shortcuts. In this section, I'm going to talk about automating a workflow. And our goal here is to take data from Excel, format that data in JMP, make some control charts, and then save those charts as PowerPoint slides. And then we're going to automate that using JSL, the JMP scripting language, and we're going to write as little code as possible. So our goal is to perform each of these steps and then capture the scripts from these so that we can go ahead and make that script. So here's how it works. I've got this Excel worksheet, and you can tell I've got these multiple tabs that I've exported out of my LIMS database. And what I'd like to do is combine all of these data exports all into one table, and then go ahead and make control charts with those. So to start off with, I'm going to use the Excel import wizard. So it's just file open, and I pointed at this Excel worksheet. I select the tabs that have my LIMS data. I need to get the headers right, so I'll fix that. And then I need to concatenate the tabs. So I have multiple tabs selected here. So I concatenate, and I'm going to make a column name with a worksheet. So that's this column here, and I'm just going to import those. So there's the data imported from Excel. Now, the next step is I'd like each of these method names to be in their own individual column. So to get there, I'm going to use the tables menu, and we'll use split. And I want the results. Those are going to be the split columns. And then the method is going to be the split by. And then here's my sample ID. I want that sample ID to be the unique identifier. So I'll put that here. So now I'm going to have a sample ID in each row, and these are all unique. And then each column will be a method. So I'm going to say OK there. Right, so there I've got my second table. Now from this table, I can go ahead and generate some control charts. So I'll go Analyze, Quality and Process, and get the control chart builder. I'll grab one of these variables and just drop it here. And we're just going to make a really simple control chart. For this one, I don't want the moving range, so I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to make it about that size because that's what I want. And that looks about what I like. I could turn on different tests and things like that, but basically we're going for a simple chart here. And then I need to make all the rest of the control chart. So I'll grab those variables and say new Y chart. Okay, so now I have all of those Y charts. And for this one, I'm going to roll up the summaries. So I'll hold down the control key, and that transmits or broadcasts that close command to everything. So those are all set. Click done, and we're set. So the first step was to get the data out of Excel, and we got that data this way. And then we formatted the data, and then we made the control charts, right? So now the next step is to put all of this together to save this as a PowerPoint slide. So if we're doing this manually, we just come over here and say File, Save As, and then we're going to pick a file type down here as PowerPoint presentation. Okay, and I'm just going to save that, right? And then JMP generates these control charts for me in PowerPoint. So that's pretty slick, and but we want to automate this whole thing so that I don't have to do all this clicking around. So here's how we're going to do it. First of all, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to start with a new script. Okay, and I'm going to go into the scripting index, and I want to find out like what JSL do I need to use in order to save a PowerPoint slide. So we'll just say this: save PowerPoint. Oh, here we go, save presentation, and it has an example script. So I'm going to grab this example script. I'm just going to copy it and paste it into my script here. All right. So I don't want to open big class. It's a sample data, and I don't want to do this analysis. So I'm going to get rid of that. Instead, I want to open that data out of the Excel file. All right. So let's go and look at that first table here. This is the Excel file the data from the Excel file, and we've got this source script. So I'm going to say edit, and I'm just going to say, and copy that, and I'm going to paste that here, right, and put a semicolon after it. Right, so that's my instructions for how to open up that Excel table. Right, the next step, I had to reformat that data, and here's that data table. This data table has a source script also. Let's look at that one. I can copy that, And I'm going to paste that one into my script and put a semicolon after it. Okay, and then the last thing I needed to do is make all these control charts. So I'll come over here and I'll say save script to the clipboard. And I'll come over here and I'll paste that. And a semicolon. All right, so now we have to do a couple of little cleanup things just so that we're very specific about what's going to happen. So in this case here, I'm opening up this file name, and I need to be able to reference this data table. So instead of just saying open the table and then whatever name it gets, I'm going to give it a variable name to talk to that one. So I'm going to call it DT1, and that equals that. Okay. So now in this next step, when I split the data table, I don't always know what this data table is going to be called, but if I call it DT1, because that's what I just opened above, then it's specific. It's saying, okay, I want you to split DT1, which is that table above, regardless of what it's named. And we can give this new data table that we generate a name also. Let's call it DT2. Okay. And this little less than, that means send to. So we're sending this split to DT1, and what we get back as a result is going to be DT2. Okay, and then we're going to use that same specificity in scripting idea here, because I want to send this control chart builder script to DT2. So it's just DT2 less than. Okay, and this control chart builder object, it needs to have a name too, because I want to be able to reference that. I'll just call it OBJ. All right, so now down here, this is the bit of scripting I got left over from that I copied and pasted out of the scripting index. So I'm going to tell Jump that OBJ is a report, and I'm going to let that be report OBJ, RPG. Okay, and then I want to save a presentation. Okay, and so now this variable, which is this report up here, is going to get saved as this name. Now, in the default that I copied out of the scripting index, it has a file name and this temp location. I'm going to change that around, and I want to just be really careful about what I'm doing here. I'm going to save this script, and I'm going to save it as, let's see, one of my examples. So I'll save it here. Okay, and I'm just going to call it erase me because I want to change this later. Okay, so now since this script is saved, Jump is going to save this PowerPoint file to the same place that the script lives. Okay, and let's run this. All right, so now I've got this control chart file, and you see it up here, it's called jump_example.ppt, and that's the basics of how to automate this workflow. So let me come back over here to our script. We didn't do a whole lot of coding here, a little tiny bit of typing, and we got that all set up. All right, and then let's recap here just really quick. This was really easy to build this workflow with a script. All we had to do was manually open the Excel table, format the data, make the control chart. And then we opened a script window. We got that saved presentation bit of script out of the scripting index, pasted that into the script window, made a couple of changes by adding in the scripts that we got out of Jump, and we didn't have to write anything there, just be a little bit specific, and we were done. And there we've got a script that can generate control charts straight from an Excel table. Hope that was useful.